Hey guys, I wanted to, now that I have a moment to myself, wanted to share something with you I wasn't able to share before. Don't mind me, I'm actually folding laundry while I talk, so I hope that's okay. It's like walking and chewing gum at the same time, right? It shouldn't be so hard. Anyway, so I just wanted to come on here real quick because we just got through big Disney adventure. We did 2 days. This is our first time at Disney World. We went to Disneyland last year, but this time was kind of like not an impromptu, but we had an opportunity. We had a few days. We're getting over COVID. We wanted to just do something special with the family and just kind of ease back into our normal routine where we, go away every year. So, in any way, our family loves theme parks. I shouldn't say our family. My husband, the kids, my husband, it's just become a family tradition. We always go to theme parks, whether it's like Sesame Place, Hershey Park, Splish Splash, whatever. So last year was Disneyland in California. This year is Disney World. I just wanted to take this time now that I'm alone. The kids and my husband are at the pool, so I didn't want any interruptions and people chiming in and stuff like that. But I wanted to do this to speak to parents or teachers, if you care for little ones especially. This video is for you. Or if you're a child and you like theme parks, you happen to be watching this video, this is for you. Anyway, so I'm here folding clothes, so don't mind me. In any event, this was our second day at Disney. There was an incident that happened and kind of freaked me out a little bit. And I think that's when my parenting decisions really kicked in. Because as a parent, let's face it, we are often stuck with making these decisions. Are we being too overprotective? Are we being too uptight? Are we not making the right decisions? But for me, when it comes to my parenting, I don't care. I don't need unsolicited advice from anyone. And it's not for me. I'm not trying to be stank or whatever you want to call it. But when it comes to my kids, those who know me, I don't play. And it gets real quick. So in any event, so I have two kids. We have two kids. They're 8 and 11, soon to be 9 and 12. And they both have different personalities. You have one who's always been like free-spirited, a thrill seeker. That's the oldest, my daughter, Anastasia. She is just like, the more dangerous, the better. She has no inhibitions. She is willing to take risks. But then our son is a little bit more of like, I'd say the quiet type. He's cool. He's a cool kid. He is an artist. He operates to the beat of his own drum. By the way, if you hear the machine in the background, that is the dryer going, or the AC, or both. And anyway, I digress. So our son is more of like the quiet, just chill. He's an artist. He's cool. Operates to the beat of his own drum as well, but in a different way. He's not thrill seeking. He likes the quiet rides, I don't want to say the kiddie rides because they're not all kiddie, but he likes more of the not so thrilling rides. In any event, so you have one child who's always like, come on, we can do it, it'll be fine, it's not like that, blah, blah, blah. And ever since, it would freak me out because we've been going to theme parks since they were like babies. My daughter, I think, went to her first theme park at 2 or 3. We went to like Sesame Place. Maybe she was like 3 turning 4. Went to like Sesame Place or something like that. And she was always like, yeah, especially water rides. She's like, yeah, whatever, And back then, our son, he was in a stroller. So I was always the one sitting off to the side. And it would freak me out that Anastasia was just always so like, I don't care, I want to do it. she was so small that they had to check her height to make sure that she was okay for the ride. And it would freak me out, and she wasn't much taller than what the requirement was, but she always wanted to do it. And my husband was always with her, was always with the baby. So as they got older, I kind of thought maybe her brother would like kind of catch up, but I realized quickly that's not his thing. He's more like, we went to Disneyland and they had like an art seminar, and he wanted to do that. He had this little art thing, tutorial, and he was just all about that. But my daughter would sit there and roll her eyes and just do it, because she had no choice. So in any event, we went to Disney on Tuesday, and it was kind of like, come on, Ashay, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And my thought is, look, if he's not interested in doing it, guess what? That's fine. And her dad is kind of like, he'll kind of try to convince him, but more in like a nurturing way. He's not like so pushy with it. He's like, it's not so bad. You'll be fine. And I'm always like, look, if he's not interested, he's not interested. He's not doing it. And so what ended up happening, I'm going to fast forward a bit, okay? Because was it Tuesday? I can't remember the days because we spent a couple days. This was just like a soft launch trip. So we just did a couple days Disney, and then we spent the rest with family and friends. So we were on a ride. We were on a line for a ride. And they have these Genie Passes at Disney. Everything has to be kind of timed out, scheduled for you to be able to maximize your time, right? So they have this Genie Plus thing where you can sign up for lightning lane passes. These are lines that you could just move through quickly and get to the rides. You don't have to stand on like the 2-hour long line or the 1.5-hour long line. So you have to pay up front. I think it's like $15 per person. You purchase it on the app, and you do it. Best time to do it is before you head to the park because the app gets clogged up and all of that. So you do that, but when you do sign up for the Genie Pass, you have to reserve your ride ahead of time. So you have to know the rides you want to get on, and if those rides are offered for lightning lane passes, then you sign up for that ahead of time and you get a window. So it's usually like an hour window. So say you sign up for Star Wars, the Star Wars tour, that's a big popular one. You have to reserve it. You get a window, like they'll tell you get here between 3:20 and 4:40. It's usually like an odd time like that. And you have to get there within that window. The earliest you can get there is 5 minutes before that window opens up. So, much to our chagrin, we get to one of the rides. I can't remember off the top of my head. And what I like to do with our son is I like to brief him on the rides because I know how he is. I like to say, like I'll say to him, like, this ride has this feature, or I'll show him on the app so he can read the features of the app. It'll say spinning, it'll say dark, it'll say thrill, it'll say it'll show the age, tweens, teens, for kids, for adults, or whatever, and he reads it. But sometimes it doesn't really give you a real gist of what it is. So sometimes I would even go online and I'll look on YouTube. Here you can see the video of the actual ride and figure out if this is okay for you. So I did this one particular ride before we set up the Genie Pass, because mind you, you have to reserve ahead of time. And so he saw the ride. He's like, okay, I think I could do this, right? So I was like, okay, cool, right? So we set up this Genie Pass for the 4 of us, and we get on the line and we're about to board, and he's like, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm not doing this ride. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. See, I don't care about $15 or whatever it costs for the Genie Pass. We'll get another one. But, my husband's like, you already paid for this. We already did this. And I'm just like, if he doesn't want to do it, guess what? He's not doing it. And that's final. Like, there's no negotiations here. I'm cool with that. It's just non-negotiable. So his sister's like, come on, O'Shea, it's fine, it's not that bad, it's just a little turn, it's a little dark, it's a little, and she's trying to convince him, and he's like, no, I'm not doing it. I said, that's right, honey, you're not doing it, that's fine, I will sit out with him. And then one of the cast members, the Disney cast members, said to us, you know, you could do a Ryder swap. And at this time, this is our first time hearing this, and I'm like, Ryder swap, what's that? She says, well, you know, you guys could wait off to the side, go to like the exit or whatever and wait for them, and then she can go on again and you can go with her this time. So first it will be my husband and our daughter, and then they get off the ride, and then I will switch with my husband, and she would just do it twice. So she gets a two for one, you know. And so our son will just sit out, and he's fine with that. So we did that the first time. It was hard to find each other, which was crazy. You've probably seen the other YouTube video. We're like, what? Where were you? We couldn't find you. So we did that the first time, and it was fine. And then Then another ride, my daughter was like, come on, O'Shea, this is great. The Slinky Dog Dash, it's look, you can see the roller coaster. And he's looking at the roller coaster actually. He's like, nope, that's not for me. And at this point I had to pull her to the side and say, you know what, if O'Shea doesn't feel like doing something, just take it for what it is and don't try to convince him otherwise. He's not interested. And I said, guess what? If it were you and any other situation, I would say the same thing to you. And she's like, well, you know, and I said, no, it's not up for debate. Like, if he's not interested, he's not interested. And I had this conversation with my husband as well, because again, he does it in more of like a nurturing way, like, it's okay, it's not that bad, you know. But for me, I'm like, I remember when I was a kid, if I didn't want to do something and somebody tries to convince me otherwise, and then I do it, and then I'm like, I really should have stuck to my guns. Like Oprah says, that inner voice, listen to that inner voice. And so that's exactly what I'm training our kids to do. Listen to your inner voice. If you're not interested in something else, it may not be a theme park. It may be alcohol. It may be smoking. It could be anything in life as you get older. You know how it goes. And if you're not interested in something and you feel peer pressure, you're pressured into doing it, you end up feeling like, and I've always been that way where I'm like, no, not doing it. You could tell me what you want to tell me. It's not that bad, whatever. I'm not doing it. So I'm kind of telling my son the same thing. Just don't, And so with the Slinky Dog Dash, there was no lightning lane for that. So I just ended up just taking him somewhere else so he could enjoy something that was more appropriate for his taste. And that's what we did. Saw a show, Indiana Jones show, that was great. We tried to do the Mickey Mouse, Minnie Railroad Raceway or something. I can't remember these names off the top of my head, but that ride closed down. So we went and saw a show while they did the Slinky Dog Dash, and then they met us at the show, which is fine. We just make sure we have our cell phones so we can communicate with one another, because we try not to do it often because we don't want to get split up. It's happened before. And we're like trying to find each other for like a half an hour, which eats up more time. So fast forward to another ride he thought he was interested in doing, and last minute it was a little bit smoother. I was like, okay, let's do the rider swap. And that was a smooth go. We were like, okay, let's do it. And he was fine with that. We just found something else for him to do at another time. So fast forward again to our last day. We only had 2 hours. It was 7:00. So we wanted to do the Tower of Terrors. We wanted to do, what is it? The Flash, not Tower of Terrors. And then there is Splash Mountain. Was it Splash Mountain? Anyway, there were a couple rides we wanted to do. Splash Mountain, I think, is Magic Kingdom. So, ixnay on that. So, this is Hollywood Studios. A big attraction is Tower of Terrors. we wanted to do that. I had showed him the previous night. I shared a link with him and I said, hey, would you want to do this? Tower of Terrors, it was a video of all of that, all that the ride features. Very similar to Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, which I also sent him a link to, and he was fine with that. He was like, yeah, I'm fine with this. And then the Tower of Terrors he seemed to be okay with. He said he'll do it. And then I had seen Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster or something, and just the name, I don't mean to be like all assuming, but when I think rock and roll, I think of rock, you know, hard, like, you know, fun but scary and all of that. So I didn't even bother sending him that link. I didn't even bother researching it, to be honest, because I figured it wouldn't be something he'd be into. Just the name roller coaster in the the actual title of the ride, I figured he wasn't into. And so when we got on the line for Tower of Terrors, mind you, it was first a 90-minute wait. We had an hour and a half left to be in the park before it closed. And we were on this line, and then we went on the app and it jumped to like 2 hours. So no longer hour and a half, but it's now 2 hours. And I'm like, this is probably the last ride we could do, and then we're done. So I said to the girl, the cast member that was there, I said, you know, is there any way that you would what did I say? I said, would you guys close the ride if we're on it too long or what have you? She's like, no, the lane stays open. We'll close it after a certain time, but you guys are good. And I said, because the ride goes up and I don't think we can like do anything else. And she's like, you know what? The Rock and Roller Coaster is only an hour, and you guys could probably make that and then come back and still be okay. And I said, but you know, he doesn't like really scary rides. Is this ride scary? And she was just like, she's like, no, it's just dark, it's fast, you kind of just go straight. And I was just like, that's it? You just go straight and it's dark, it's fast? And she's like, yeah. And I was just like, okay, because he's terrified of like scary rides and things like that. She's like, yeah, you'd be fine. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, this is a cast member telling me this. So I said, okay. I said, O'Shea, would you want to do it? He was like, well, it's just fast, it's dark. I said, yeah, that's what she says. And he was like, okay. So we went off of that line and we got to the Aerosmith. And it seemed like it moved quickly. It seemed like it was more like 45 minutes, maybe 50. We get to the front of the line. There was still a group of people ahead of us. And I saw another cast member. And I said, okay, is this ride scary? I asked again, you know, I try to get, you know, a couple different opinions. And she says to me, this ride goes upside down. I said, okay, yeah, that's... I'm thinking, that's not going to work. And then I see O'Shea out of the corner of my eye just looking. He's canvassing the area. He is looking to see what's going on, you know, how people are getting in the ride, where are they seated, you know, what it looks like. And he's like, I don't think I want to do this. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing this. And that's how he is. And I said, well, you know, O'Shea, if you don't want to do it, guess what? We're not doing it. And then again, here we go. You know, it's not that bad. It's not like the peanut gallery over here. And it's mostly his sister. Again, Dad is like, you know, it's fine. It's just dark. And I said, honey, if he doesn't want to do it, he's not doing it. So we get into this like back and forth with Anastasia. Come on, but we waited on this line. We can't, we got to... Because, mind you, it's close to closing time and we don't have much time. And I said, listen, I don't care. If he doesn't want to do it, he is not doing it. That's final. I said, O'Shea, I will sit out with you. It's fine. If you feel uncomfortable about something, it's okay to say no. So we're having this back and forth and people are like looking at us, right? And this other guy, I guess this other Ryder, Disney patron, was just like, you guys can do a Ryder swap. I said, yeah, you know, we could. But, you know, this wasn't a lightning lane type situation. So I didn't care one way or the other. For me, if I don't ride the ride, that's fine too. And then I said, yeah, I mean, we could do that or whatever. And I said, okay, I'll go with Anastasia. You stay with O'Shea. And I could see in my husband, like, he's also a thrill seeker when it comes to these rides. And I could see in his face, he really wants to do the ride. I mean, O'Shea took one look, because it's one of those harnesses you put over and it locks in place, and you have to pull it, make sure that it's locked in, right? He saw people doing that, and then there is no slow ride to begin. It's like, you're shooting out. And O'Shea saw one look at that. He's like, no, I'm definitely not doing it. I looked at my husband, and I could tell my husband he loves that stuff. And I said, honey, at this point, it's time to board. And I said, honey, look, I can see you want to do it. Go with her. I will stay with you. He's like, no, because I'm always done sitting out, right, with O'Shea. He's like, no, it's fine. You go. I'll stay with him. We'll just do a Ryder swap. And I was like, because a part of me is like, this looks really scary. But as I'm protecting my son, I don't want our daughter to go by herself. It's not happening. And she already thinks I'm uptight. So I said, fine, I'll go with Anastasia. So we get on, and I say, Anastasia, you make sure that thing is all the way down. You pull it all the way down, right? And she's like, Mom, it's fine. She's always like, Mom, it's fine. And then I say to another cast member, I said, could you please just double check and make sure hers is, because I'm just, please. And the girl is like, oh, as long as it's locked in place, she's fine. Just pull up for me. And I'm just like, this girl. I said, okay. We get in. There is no slow go. It's just you shoot it right out. And it's dark, and then the music starts playing loud, like, all this harassment. And I'm just like, oh my God. It's dark, but then there's like flashing lights like you're at a concert, right? And then it's like blaring and blah, you can hear and you're going upside down, you're turning, it's fast turns, it's pitch dark, you're going upside down. I was just like, holy moly. This ride must have been like 2 minutes, okay? It was like the longest 2 minutes of my life. 2 minutes or less, it was the longest of my life. The minute we pull in and we slow down, I'm like, oh my God. As I'm getting out, I'm like, O'Shea made the right decision. Oh my God. Oh my God. We see them waiting for us, Dad and O'Shea. And I'm like, O'Shea, you made the right choice. I'm so proud of you. I said, he couldn't have done that. Because he would have been seated by himself. We would have been next to him. He would have been seated, but I wouldn't even be able to see him. It's so dark. I couldn't see my daughter, but I knew she was safe. I knew she was okay because, she's used to this. Like, this is her. Like, I would have probably gotten out and not even see him sitting next to me. Probably would have gotten out somehow. I don't know. I'm just like saying. And so we got out, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is no joke. I was like, O'Shea, you did the right thing. You always, if you're ever uncomfortable with something, always stick to your guns, honey. Stick with your decision. So these random people started coming over to us, at this point, Anastasia and Dad go back again because we did the Ryder swap. These 2 random people came over to me, was like, you're such a great mom. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they were like, oh my goodness, we heard the whole thing. We were standing next to you guys in line. We heard the whole thing as it was going down. And honestly, this exact same thing happened earlier today with another family, but it went another way. And we were like cringing inside. We were just so worried for that child. And, oh my God, well, we saw you and, how you were. And I'm almost tearing up when I'm like here. I'm like, oh my God, I'm tearing up now as I'm just getting emotional. Because for me, I'm trying not to. For me, you think as a mom, like, am I making the right choice? In the back of your head, you're like, I hope I'm doing the right thing. I hope I'm, delivering the right message. I'm hoping I'm not scarring my kids. I'm hoping that I'm teaching them the right thing to do. And I know this is a long video and I apologize. because I feel like I'm going on and on and on. But I'm hoping that someone is watching this and you can actually relate, or you've seen this go down, or you've had this happen to you, whether it's you've seen it, like you witnessed it, or it's happened to your family, or you are the person that is always being peer pressured into doing something. I hope you're watching this and you're like, you know what? Oh my God. Because this, to me, this could be a lifesaver, right? When they said that this exact thing happened and it went another way, and they saw that a child was like in distress and being pressured into doing the ride and ended up doing the ride, and the child was like, that child may be scarred for life, who knows? And I was like, thank you so much, I really appreciate it. I said, I truly appreciate it, because he's still so little. And when you think, just think about yourself as a child for a second, right? I digress a bit, but this is relatable. I went back to my childhood home, and I remember looking at it and like, wow, this is tiny. But as a child, it looked so big. It was so big. And to kids, you have to remember, everything looks so big. Everything looks so scary. To some kids, not all, but some. And that's what, I go back to my childhood mind and think how things were and how I experienced it and how I felt when X happened or Y happened or Z happened. So for me, I was just like, yeah, no, not gonna happen. Don't care. Don't care who's judging me. Because I need to sleep well. I need to know that my children are sleeping well, right? So when they said that to me, they were like, oh my goodness, this happened to another family. It went another way. We were so terrified and worried for this child. You did the right thing. And then the older guy, the gentleman said to my son, oh, I'm proud of you, and gave him like a fist bump. It was just like, you did the right decision, man. When I was your age, I hated roller coasters. I was terrified of roller coasters. Now as I'm older, I'm able to ride them. But if you don't feel like doing it, it's fine. You're okay. We are proud of you. And the woman that was next to him, that I guess it was maybe his girlfriend or his wife, I'm not sure. And she was saying the same thing. Oh my goodness. And then this other couple comes over. And as I'm explaining to this first couple, I said, you know what? It's dark in there. Like, I wouldn't be able to sit with myself if, we're in there with him and the ride is going and he's trying to get out or trying to like free himself from, because that could happen. Kids think, oh, let me get out of this because I'm scared or whatever. And then it ends up with a tragic end. This girl comes over. She's like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm overhearing your conversation. And yes, you made the right decision, because when I was little, I hated roller coasters. And this girl, I guess, was waiting for her partner, I don't know if it's a boyfriend, husband, whatever, to get off the ride because she didn't want to do it either. And this is an older woman, or young lady. She must have been in 20s. They both were probably 20s, maybe 30s. And she says, when I was a kid, we were in Disney. There was a ride. It's no longer here, but it was just like one of those rides where you just pull down the bar. And my sister kept telling me to, it's fine to get on the ride. She got on the ride, the two of them, and she says, in the middle of the ride, she was trying to get off of the ride. She's like, I was like, I'm out during the ride. And she said, if it wasn't for her sister pulling her to safety, she would have just slid right out. She was that small. And that, wow, talk about validation. I was just like, holy, oh my gosh. And I was just like, God, thank you so much. So I say all of this to say, just be mindful. And this translates to not just theme parks, not just thrill rides. This is in life. I'm hoping you're watching this and can somehow get something from it. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a trained professional when it comes to that. But I'm a mom who cares about her children, who cares about your children, who just cares, period. And my thoughts and my feelings are, if you are a parent, don't, feel pressure into like giving into your kids, or just be careful of those decisions, because those decisions can be long lasting. My son is still randomly coming over to me and giving me hugs just throughout the trip. He does that anyway because he's sweet that way, but I notice it's more now. I mean, usually I get a couple hugs a day. He'll come over a couple, and now it's like 50. Like, he just keeps, I guess because he feels thankful and grateful that I stuck by him. I think that's what it is. And he doesn't have to say it, but I know my kids. I know him. I know how he is. And I know that's why. And I said, it's okay. And even after it was done, my husband and my daughter was just like, yeah, O'Shea, you couldn't have gone on that ride. You made the right decision. You made the right decision. Even they kind of went back and said, yeah, O'Shea couldn't have done that. That ride, that was probably the scariest ride for them. And if you're a thrill seeker, definitely do it. It's for your adventurous type people, for sure. But if you have the little ones, even if they meet the height criteria, they may not meet the criteria up here or in here. Just don't force it. Don't make them feel they have to, because think about it. If I were to be leaving here with one child instead of two, I wouldn't have been able to, I couldn't forgive myself. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. If I scarred my son for life, like making him feel even more terrified of these things, I couldn't forgive myself. And this goes to other things, like we've been parents for a while now, and we do activities with the kids. Swimming is another one of them. I've seen parents force their kids in the swimming pool to take that lesson. I hear parents say all the time, I just threw him in the deep end until he swam. Like, I'm not into that. For me, it's wait until they're ready. If they're not ready, they're not ready, Find ways to gently, I would say gently, very gently and cautiously encourage. Like with swimming, that's a life lesson type thing. That's something that should be, I think, because I didn't grow up learning how to swim. I didn't learn to swim until I was like adult. And it was only because my kids were taking swim lessons that I wanted to be able to swim with them and help them and be there for them. But even with that, I've seen parents kind of like force, and I'm just, even riding a bike, just gently, say, hey, are you ready? How do you feel? Let's stay in the kiddie pool for a while, because our son took a while too with the pool. He did not want to go in a deep end, and for him, deep end was 3 feet, and he was like maybe 2, 3, and he was just not interested. And guess what? I was like, okay, we are going to be in the 2-inch water until he's ready. And then eventually he did get to that point, and now he swims, he jumps off the diving board and everything. So I think it's they have to be ready. They have to feel comfortable. So I hope this video wasn't too long, but I'm so sorry. But I just felt like I needed to share, and this is also therapy for me to get this out, because I've been thinking about it, and I slept comfortably knowing that, he was safe, and my daughter's safe, and, my husband's safe, and we talked about this. So if you guys have ever been in this situation, please share. If you could give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, that will really be helpful as well. And whenever you go to these theme parks, just be careful, and be supportive. Anyway, they're back now, so I finished just in time, and I finished the laundry. I just have one more load. All right, see you guys later. Bye.